starting recording. And excellent, we're recording.
All right.
So, all right. Hey, so we are here to talk about the new sign that we're entering into with Mary Jane. You're a resident astrologer. And so we've just been moving out of Libra. We're moving into Scorpio now. So tell me, what are some of the things we can expect as we move into Scorpio with a new sign?
Okay. I was hoping to underline with the ingress. I remember the word, the ingress of the sun coming into Scorpio should ring some bells for us about how the energy field totally changes as the sun comes into a new sign. I often think it's rather like changing the lighting during a play on the stage during a play. All of a sudden the ambience is going to change. Puts a new accent on some of the players. Maybe they change roles slightly, or the theme changes throughout the play. We're just shifted off into a new feeling. And
yeah.
anyone who's paying any attention to astrology should be able to pick up this sensitivity. It's part of the thing. As we move through the seasons, our attitudes change and our possibilities change as well. So that's was my big thing today. I hope to hit on this, and especially now in this mood of Scorpio that we're coming into. So what's involved with Scorpio? First of all, let's remember that it's a water sign. Often we think of these scorpions, scooting around in the desert, but no, it's a water sign. It's involved with emotions and emotivity, as are all the water signs. So what's important with Scorpio is especially that it's a fixed water sign. I see Scorpio as still water. This is water that's not moving. It's ponds, it's swamps, it's underground lakes. There's a lot of hidden secret stuff going on in these deep, deep waters, very intense energy. And that's the real emphasis in Scorpio is the deepness, the incredible sensitivity, and also this vast deep and intense activity that's going on in Scorpio. The whole energy field is very active. What'd you say?
As you know, my daughter is Scorpio.
Right.
My brother's Scorpio as well, of course. And so I know that she can be very intense. She's very moody. She doesn't share. She's moody, but she doesn't always share what's going on.
Right. Yeah. There's a lot of self instruction, self-research. She's always going to be looking, but not always willing to give reports on what she's finding along the way.
Absolutely. So this moving into, oh yeah, and moving into this new sign, is it going to affect just Scorpios, or how does it affect everybody else?
Oh, no. It will affect all of us. And again, I come back to this sensitivity that I hope people are developing as far as moving through the seasons, watching the signs. It's important for all of us. Maybe Scorpios, well, as the sun is moving into their sign, they're going to have their birthdays, and with a little luck, they'll be very fun times. But that's secondary, and all of us are going to feel this new accent, a new possibilities. But again, our worldview, this famous zeitgeist, is shifting, and it's important in this sign to plug into a necessity to follow the feeling as close as we can. Scorpio is especially interesting. I'm kind of reading some of my notes here. It's a very passionate sign. So anything that we're involved in, anything that we're looking to push ahead or to realize, is going to take on this sort of passionate side to us, and maybe hinder what we're trying to do, maybe help. It rather depends. It's important with Scorpio to keep your head about you, because your feelings can be totally wrapped up in a very passionate state which may or may not be helpful, depending on what you're after. But it's a sign, we have to remember that it's a very fertile sign. Scorpio seems to be destroying everything it comes in contact with. And there's a lot of that involved. Let me just point out that it's a sign that's devoted to purification, elimination. We're wanting to get rid of all the detritus, cleansing, all of these, elimination of anything that's extraneous in our field. So very useful in cleaning house, clean the basement, empty your closets, make order, get rid of anything that's hanging off of you.
Oh,
Very
now that's a
useful.
great idea. It's fall anyway, and we're changing seasons. We're getting out the Halloween decorations, here.
Right,
And
right.
ramping up for Christmas, needing to make room for all of the madness that is the holidays. Good time to do some internal work with that too.
Oh, it's absolutely necessary because Scorpio is as one of the water signs. It's also involved in our deepest subconscious psychology. It's time for us to be making order in our heads as well, and a lot of this transformation that's involved in is self-transformation as well. It's time to look at our relationships, look at what we're doing with other people. We're coming out of Libra, which is all involved in relationships. And now it's time to analyze. It's time to take stock of what's been set up, what we can get involved in deeper. What are these relationships worth and how are they working? So it's very good for that.
Well, and of course, it's going to depend on each person, like where the rest of their signs are, what the rest of their moons and stars are.
Absolutely.
Right?
Absolutely.
So,
yeah.
Now, I wanted to ask, so that's kind of on a personal level, this taking stock, this analyzing, this kind of house cleaning. What about on the global stage? There's a ton of stuff going on right now. You see this playing
out. It's a fascinating period. We already started with this in Libra. It's a fascinating period because of the ruling planets of Scorpio are right in there, and they're just acting up incredibly right now. The ruling planets of Scorpio are Mars in first position and Pluto, the new planet, in second position. Both of these are extremely active right now, and Pluto especially, as we saw already last month and for the last 6 months, longer than that, is really tying knots in the world economy, in getting things started again. It's causing a lot of fallout, a lot of destruction. The old methods are not working. It's time to clean house as well, as far as the economy and especially nature are shaping up. And so this is going to be very important. Pluto, we'll see this through until the end of the fall, in fact, into the new year. This combination of Pluto with Saturn that's sitting there in Capricorn, they're going to be very active still and attacked from every angle through the next few months. We're just getting started in the groundswell that's happening as far as other people, just ordinary people, are going to arms, going to the streets and saying this will not go on anymore. It just can't happen.
These huge protests that you hear about in these other countries, and then there's the whole impeachment process that's going on here in the States, and then the global, like the climate marches and all just because the marches are kind of out of the spotlight now, that's not going away. People are still
no. It's just they're just getting started, as close as I can tell. And I come back, as we always do. We saw last month the necessity to come back to the last eclipse, the last important eclipse, solar eclipse that was happening the first part of July. And already the line was drawn between them and the people, this monster authority that's supposed to be acting upon us. And all of a sudden, the people in the streets are saying, no, it can't happen like this. It's just not in the picture anymore. So
Yeah.
again, as the sun is coming over into the activities, into this intense transformative period of Scorpio, and heating up for the rest of the winter and for the rest of the fall, in fact, we're just getting warmed up as close as I can tell, as far as these different reactions, people's reactions to these movements are just it's going to get hot. What's hot right now is Venus and Mercury that are in Scorpio right now, and making some uh, very fertile aspects to Saturn and to Pluto. What's happening, especially with Venus, who gets all hot and bothered when she's in Scorpio? She's extremely passionate. She's extremely angry. It's very selfish, self-centered. She wants what she wants. So as these planets are sending messages to each other, especially Venus and Mercury, are just, they're carrying signs, and they're in the streets, and they're yelling, and they've got their megaphones warmed up and just ready to roll, and really getting very excited. We left behind us last month. We left Mars, who's still sitting in Libra, kind of going, "Oh, now everybody, please be calm. Everybody, we can work this out." And he's sort of shouting into the wind. Nobody's paying much attention to him. So I'm not looking for any real major breakthroughs as far as negotiations go in the near future. Anyway, it's interesting times, I'll tell you.
Oh my God, absolutely. There's a curse in Chinese that goes, "May you live in interesting times."
Oh
and
yeah, well, that's what's on. We are.
Yeah, these are the times du jour these days. It's getting crazy out there. Buckle up your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy ride.
Exactly. It's almost roller coaster stuff here, actually, and in the near future, and especially as we get into end of December, January, then we can talk about a real roller coaster. But we'll talk about that a little later.
Yeah, we will. Oh my gosh. Well, this is just fascinating. I always say I know just enough about astrology to make me dangerous. I love I love that we've got you to put things into perspective. There are so many people who are highly sensitive, and these highly sensitive people are really subject to eclipses, to equinoxes, to all the fluctuations of the stars. And some of my clients, I tell them, if you're starting to feel really agitated, things aren't working right, you're upset out of nowhere, first look to see, is there a retrograde going on? Look
True.
to see, is there
We're going to have a monster one in the 1st of November, so.
Oh, good. Now, that's coming up soon. Tell me about that.
Yeah, it is. It is. It's going to bring back, it's kind of interesting, actually. As I said, Venus and Mercury are working very closely together this month, and especially right now. But as Mercury goes retrograde, we're going to be picking up, actually, they're going to be looking to history, looking to some movements that have been going on in the last 50 years. All of a sudden, these reports that have been lying around on people's desks for, all these years are coming back to the surface. The whistleblowers are saying, look, we talked about this 30 years ago, and so on and so forth. So we're going to get some old, new information. And I think this is going to add through this the 1st to the 21st of November, where people are going, these wonderful Scorpios researchers, they're going to go digging around and saying, look, this is not a new problem. This is only getting worse with time, and we're running out of time. So that's what I think the one thing is going to be very interesting with this particular retrograde. Also, I might add, people are going to see a lot of, we're going to see a lot of rainfall, heavy what I want to say, storm patterns are going to be shaping up under this retrograde, and a lot of people are going to be cleaning out their basements, whether they want to or not, basically with this kind of movement. So
Oh,
get ready
interesting.
for that.
Well, I would love to have you back to talk about this eclipse coming up and the retrogrades. I love that we can have this technology to put these
Mm.
reports out. I think it's important. People
Yeah.
need to know the forces that are shaping their life and what they're seeing and how they're feeling.
Uh-huh.
Awesome.
It's
Thank
true.
you so much for putting all of this into perspective. And we will definitely keep doing this. And I want to talk soon about the retrograde and the eclipses that are coming up. This is helpful. Any last thoughts about Scorpio?
Um, we've talked about things going on in the economy and various governments on a rather material level. But on a psychological level, Scorpio is a fascinating place to be. Um, it's a time when we can look at our major motives. What I call in the Scorpio, especially the Plutonian aspect of Scorpio, brings to the surface finally what I call the Fab Four. Now, this isn't, it has nothing to do with the Beatles, but it has everything to do with four major driving influences that are always important to all of us. They are sex, money, power, and death. These are the four hidden elements, hidden agendas of all of our subconscious minds. These are driving forces, obviously. They have everything to do with the uh, destruction and reconstruction. The birth and the death involved in Scorpio is primordial. So we're
Mm,
getting involved in having a look at our attitudes toward
mm.
uh, these driving forces, and are they destroying us or are we using them? Are we ready to do the transformation necessary? This is a wonderful time to be getting involved in looking at some of our old complexes and our old phobias and our old blockages and putting those to peace. So it's
Right.
time to check out of that kind of thinking. So that this is an important, very important driving influence in Scorpio, and we can use this time for that.
That is great. I think that's really helpful and informative. And again, this kind of depends on where it's kind of individualized. I mean, this is like the temporary
Absolutely.
time, but it can be more individualized for that. So, are you taking new astrology clients?
Oh, of course, always with
Oh,
pleasure. Every
oh,
every chart I look at is a lesson for me, and I hope have has some influence for people, helping them get some order in their thinking as well, and in when they see themselves in front of blocked situations or choice has to be made, or there are 100 different reasons to come into consultation. But I always find it fascinating. It's a very privileged place in a person's life for me to intervene as such. It's always a pleasure and a rare privilege for me to be in touch with clients. I love it.
that's awesome. So to schedule an appointment, we go to radiatewellnesscommunity.com, /appointments, and you can find out anything you would like to know about the services we offer, Mary Jane's contact information, and how to schedule an appointment for a consultation with Mary Jane. So Mary Jane, thank you again so much for doing this. I love to make this a regular thing. I think it'll be really helpful.
We'll be on. I'll see you in Sagittarius.
Absolutely.